Good morning to all of you, 7th A. Hope you all are fine, children.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, ready for the class?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Happy?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
A loud yes I want from all together.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Good,
Yes, ma'am.
that's fine. Okay, so with that happiness, let's begin the class. And I hope with the same happiness, you're going to learn the things that I'll be telling you. Fine. So, children, in the last class, we talked about, we began with the process of reproduction. We talked about reproduction, we talked about its meaning. We also talked about the importance of the process of reproduction. And then we talked about the types of reproduction, the modes in which the reproduction process can occur. And there we learned that there are two modes, asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction, isn't it? Where are you all? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay. So when I was telling you about these two processes of reproduction, I gave you an introduction and I told you that it will be much more clear to you. It will be much, yes, it will be much more clear to you once you learn it with the help of the examples. I told you that I'll be giving you some examples and I'll be telling you that yes, actually this process, this type of process takes place in which only one parent is involved. There are no two parents involved, but only one parent is involved, and this way, they help in multiplying, or you can say in giving rise to more of the same kind of individuals. Yes, children. So now, when we talk about this, we act, and I also told you one more thing that when we talk about asexual reproduction, it occurs in the lower organism. Now again, I told you that by lower organism, I do not mean that I'm talking about the small plants, small animals, small human beings which are short in height. It's not like that. It means that we are talking about the organisms. Organisms means I include all the living organisms, the living things that have simple body organization. That means their body is either made up of one cell or two or three cells. May they be multicellular, but their body organization, the level of organization is not very well developed. As I told you that we are the highest evolved group of animals. Yes. So the same way, if we talk about us, we have a proper system in our body. Different organs we have in our body. These organs, they make the organ system, and that is why we are highly evolved. We know things, we can learn about things, we have mind, we can take decisions, our body is balanced because of the hormones, everything fine. So we are very evolved, we are multicellular organism, and moreover we are highly evolved. But when we talk about the asexual reproduction, that means we are talking about the animals or the plants or the other organisms which are not very well developed in their body. In the formation, they are not developed. And that is why they do not have a proper reproductive system, in fact. And that is why the mode of reproduction which applies on them is asexual reproduction. Am I clear?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Okay. So when we talk about asexual reproduction, we'll be first talking
Yes,
about
ma'am.
the okay, we'll be talking about the binary fission. Okay. Just have a look on the board. I'll be explaining it to you. Binary fission. Now, actually, when we talk about binary fission, I'll just bring it a little closer to you. Now I think it's okay. Yes? So, the word bi, first of all. In science, when we talk about bi, it is bi. If it is added to any word, that means we are talking about two. Quickly make a note of it. Very quickly, take a pencil in your hand and write two. Bi, bi. This word refers to two. As soon as it is done, just quickly say yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, the other word says fission. Now, if you remember in the last class, we talked about in the what was there in the previous paragraph, we discussed that male gamete, Female gamete. You remember I showed you actions like this? Male gamete,
Yes, ma'am.
female gamete, and they fuse. Fusion takes place. Now I say fission. It's the opposite. Fission means breaking. Fine. So please make a note of this also. Fission. Where fission is written in bracket, write down breaking. Done?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So
Yes,
now what do
ma'am.
you say? Now I have given you two words. What do you say? Two and breaking. So what does binary fission mean? Give it a try. Okay, so when a single parent, the body of the parent divides into two, breaks into two, that is what we refer to as binary fission. So in binary fission, the organism that we'll be discussing will be seen that the parent body, it divides into two, and this is what is the first type of asexual reproduction, or first mode in which the asexual reproduction can take place. Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes.
Now all of you, please look here very properly on the board. See, when we talk about the reproduction process, I told you that this process takes place only in the living organism. And the living organism are made up of, the body of the living
Cell.
organism is made up of cell. Very good. So we talk
Cell.
about cell. We have already talked about it, but just for revision, so that you understand it well. The cell, it has a membrane. About this is called cell membrane. Fine. Then you have nucleus. This is the nucleus. As I am drawing it, you can do it. And then the liquid, nucleus, which is called the brain of the cell. And then you have this liquid filled in it, and this is the cytoplasm. Cytoplasm. So the cell, the boundary of the cell, that is the cell membrane. Then you have nucleus in the center, a dotted structure that you can see, and the same way, this is the cytoplasm. The liquid that is present, that is the cytoplasm. Any problem till here?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Okay. So do you understand this much? You have to keep in mind.
Yes.
So
Yes,
for a
ma'am.
cell, okay. So for a cell, what all is important? Come on, tell me one by one. What all has to be there for a cell? Come on.
Yes, ma'am.
Cell membrane, yes. Then
Cytoplasm, nucleus.
cytoplasm, good. Then
Nucleus.
Nucleus.
nucleus, very good. So now, okay, now just observe what I'm doing on the board carefully. Yes, see, this is we'll be taking the first example, and that is amoeba. It is a unicellular or a single cell organism, and that is why we are taking it as an example for the asexual reproduction process, considering it under the heading binary fission. So here you have the nucleus, then you have the cytoplasm, you have the nucleus, you have the cytoplasm. Then, in the second phase, what happens next we'll be talking about. Now, children, this nucleus means breaking. Bi means two. Fission means breaking. So, binary fission means breaking into two. So, here we see that first what divides? The nucleus divides. The first division is of the nucleus. So, we can see, we'll be seeing this type of structure. The amoeba doesn't have any regular shape. Its shape keep changing from time to time. So, we see that the nucleus, divides into 2. The nucleus divides into, come on,
Two.
2. In the third step, we see that now what is going to divide? What is going to divide now? Loud, loud, loud. Cytoplasm. Good. So here we see that now, yes.